Today I'm joined by Husni Al Bayari, a true pioneer in Dubai real estate, as the founder and chairman of both D&B and Evolutions. Husni has spent over 2 decades helping shape the city's real estate landscape, and he's not slowing down. In this episode, we unpack his journey, the growth of 2 powerhouse companies, and how he continues to make bold moves in one of the world's fastest evolving markets. Let's get into it. So, welcome to the show. Thank you, Husni, for joining me today.
Absolutely.
Brilliant.
Pleasure.
I have known of you for probably much longer than I've actually known you. And I'm going to start off by telling you about the time that I used to see you. I used to go to Emaar sales office. I think it was probably Dubai Hills Estate. And I was just a small-time real estate agent, even now, but then definitely. And I used to see you walking around, and you just had this entourage of people following you. And I always thought, who is that guy? Who's that guy? Why is everyone? Oh, he just works at Emaar. He's a sales guy at Emaar, but he only deals with the big guys. So tell me, is that true? I mean, how long ago was that when you were starting? You were working as Emaar as a real estate as an agent for Emaar.
Okay. First of all, thank you for having me here. I want to say again, you're doing an absolutely amazing job.
Thank you.
Content that's coming out is
Stop.
spot on.
Yes,
I mean,
you.
this is what the market really wants, and it's a pleasure to be here with you. In Dubai Hills, I wasn't an Emaar employee.
Oh, were you not?
No, I was when I was when I worked for Emaar. The last sales center I worked in was the Pavilion in the downtown. So when you saw me, that was me and my team. That was the D&B team. That was when we just started. I think D&B started in end of 2015, right after they laid me off.
Who laid you off?
Emaar.
Why?
I don't know. Hot-blooded, maybe. I don't like to take direction. I failed in the corporate world. Right. I can't work under someone's management. I was horrible.
How long were you there for Emaar?
Oh God. Emaar was a very interesting journey because I started with them in the beginning as Emaar Professional Services right before they branded it Hamptons. So I joined in and then had the secondary market part, or the secondary market department was then branded Hamptons. So I've been with them for a very long time. But even when I wasn't working for Emaar, obviously, because when we started, Emaar was the biggest and the only developer in the beginning. And I was involved in all their launches. So I've been in the market even before the freehold law came out.
Really?
It was leasehold.
But were you working for Emaar at the time?
No, I was outside. I was like a hustler.
Okay, so let's start from the beginning. How did you get into real estate? So no, let's go back even further. Husni, you've lived in the UAE, as far as I know, almost all your entire life. I think it was 30 days.
43 years.
30 days you spent out of it. Where were you born?
I was born in Palestine.
Okay.
Yeah. 1982, right in the middle of the Civil War.
Okay.
And then we had to fly back. My dad used to work here. So when I flew back into the UAE, we were residents in Abu Dhabi. Okay. So I think I was 35 days old. Obviously, I don't remember anything, but that's what my parents tell me.
Right. So you were 35 days when you moved here.
Yeah, that's what my mom tells
35 days.
me. Yeah.
Of course, you couldn't argue with your mum.
Yeah, of course.
So then what happened?
And my dad worked here. We had a couple of businesses in Abu Dhabi. And we've been here ever since. We moved to Dubai in 1987. We lived on Sheikh Zayed Road. There was a tower called the Rustumani Tower. Yeah, you know those pictures that go around? Yeah. It was Tower A before Tower B was built. So there's 2 twin towers, the Rustumani towers. Yeah. We were in Tower A, right before Tower B was actually built. So my childhood was in what's now called the Jumeirah Gardens. We played in that little area in the back. And you can only imagine what we played with. There's absolutely nothing there. Yeah. We created our little sand games. It's crazy stuff.
Did you have any jobs before you got into real estate?
No, straight out of university. I actually got my first deal. I was still a student in university. I graduated from the American University in Sharjah, and my first deal. I don't want to call it a deal. It was just a stroke of luck, I would say. My first deal was I sold my spot in a queue.
You're one of them.
I was the founder of that.
Really?
We were the first people.
How much did you sell it for? Do you remember?
Yes.
Go on.
So I took my friends. Okay, I'll tell you the story. So we were driving back from Sheikh Zayed Road, and that time the Habtoor was a small hotel, and they've had a little cinema, the Metropolitan there. And then the whole road down to where the downtown is now, it was called the Defense Roundabout.
Yes.
And it was still a construction. There was nothing there yet. And there was a queue of cars. I don't know, maybe about 200 cars. And me and my friend like, what's going on here? It's peculiar. This doesn't happen in Dubai. And it was around 2 a.m. in the morning. And we're like, curiosity. We drove in the front and we found out that there's a launch the next day. I was like, you know what? We've got nothing to do. We're just slobbing around like good students in university. And I was like, let's see what this is all about. And he had a Range Rover with a 3-digit plate number. And the 3-digit plate number back then was like given to very few. So it was one of those things where we can get access to the front line. And we literally got access to the front of the line just because of the plate number that he had. And I was like, you know what? Let's ask around. And we found out that there was a launch by Emaar. I don't remember exactly what year this was.
Do you remember what launch it was?
I think it was the Old Town Islands.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So that would have been around 2003.
2002, 2003.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know if it was the Old Town. I don't remember exactly. It was a long time ago. So we literally cut in front of all the cars. And we came out and we understood the whole thing. And they're like, yeah, you come in, you take a token. They used to give you a number.
Yes.
You know, like when you go into a restaurant and you pull out a number and it says you're number 45. And then you had to come back the next day to complete the transaction. So I was like, you know what? I've got a couple more friends that are sitting in a coffee shop doing absolutely nothing. Let's all have fun. We literally went back, picked them up, came in. We were about 7, including me and my friend. And we stood in line. And because we were able to cut in the front, so we got numbers 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, really low numbers. And then out of curiosity, I was like, okay, let me see where the line ends. And I'm walking and walking and walking. And there's a queue of people. And, you see all these, like, people with fancy watches and like, proper, like, investors. So I was like, you know what? Let me try this. I literally walked to the end of the line, and there was this Asian gentleman. He had a fancy watch on with a golden necklace. I was like, you know what? He looks tired, and he was sweaty, and he was aggravated, and he was pissed off, and he's like, we're not going to get anything. I was like, listen, I've got 5 tokens. I'm ready to sell them for you. Not in that sense, but I don't remember exactly what the conversation was. But we came to an agreement that, listen, I'll take my friends out. You switch with your family because they were 4, and we'll exchange. You take the spots, you give me money. And I was like, and my friend worked in a bank, and I was like, dude, I didn't have a bank account. I didn't have a bank account. I didn't know what a checkbook looked like. And he's like, okay, how much do you want for it? I was like, 30,000. And I said, 30,000 for the whole thing. And he's like, yeah, okay, I'll give you 30,000 per spot. I was like, what? Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, 30,000 per spot. So the guy's like, how am I going to pay? I was like, I need the money now. He's like, how am I going to pay you now? You crazy? Who walks around with this kind of cash with him? I was like, okay, how am I going to? I don't trust you. I don't know you. How are you going to give me the money? I was like, I'll give you a check. So I called my friend up. He's like, he wants to give me a check. He's like, yeah, put it in your account. I was like, I don't have an account. He's like, ask him for a cash check. I was like, what's a cash check? He's like, just ask him to sign on both sides of the check and give you a cash check. And I took that check to the bank, and I was shaking. I was like, I hope I didn't get ripped off. And I went to the bank and I gave him the check, and he was like, yeah, can I have? There were no IDs back then.
No.
With passports. So I gave him a passport, and he's like, yeah, okay, hold on a second. And all of a sudden, I hear the machine go like. I was like, oh, jackpot.
Amazing.
And I did.
That was a lot of money back
That's
then.
a lot of money for a 20-year-old.
There was a lot of money back then.
100%. You know what I did with the money?
Go on.
I actually booked a unit. That was my first investment ever. So you take a token, and then you come back the next day. My friend is still holding the unit he bought till now.
Wow.
So he paid the value of that property 10 times now.
Amazing.
With the appreciation, with the rental yield. So I took the token, and then the funny thing is what happened the next day after I booked. As soon as I walked out, someone gave me 5%.
Yes.
So it was I think I came out that weekend with about 200K. That's what my dad did in a year, probably back then.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you're in a queue, and then somehow you got to be working for a developer. Is that your first, or were you?
No. I worked with a friend that came in from Boston, set up a real estate brokerage, and it was next to Wafi, and we started working. At that time, Emaar was coming up, Dubai Holding was coming up. Then you started seeing the Marina project, the JBR project, the Greens project, the Springs, and all that. So we started brokering there. But majority of my work was technically with Emaar. And then me and my friend or partner back then, we fell out. And I was like, you know what? I'm not wasting time. I'm young. I don't know how to do business. Let me learn from the best. I want to join Emaar. And I was adamant. And it took me a while to get in. They were very picky with who they got on board. And then at that time, I think around 2003, 2000, I'm not really bad with the dates. But we joined Emaar. It was called Emaar Professional Services. And a couple of months after, the chairman, Mohammed Al-Abbar, acquired Hamptons International. And then they branded Emaar Professional Services as the secondary market service provider or vertical within Emaar to help clients on the resale, on the renting and all of that. So I joined them and I worked with them for a very long time, I think until the crisis. They were going to lay us off, but I was like, you know what, I'm going to resign before they do. And took a couple of years, like a year off, let's say. I ventured into a couple of other businesses and then they called me back a while back. One of my friends who's very successful now, very proud of him in the real estate industry as well. He's like, listen, man, the market's back on fire. We want you back. So I joined Hamptons again and I stayed there for about 6 months. I met at the time Robert Booth and he's like, listen, I want you on board with me in Emaar. And at that time, things were starting to move with Emaar again and I joined them since. But if you want to sum it up, majority of my experience was from that machine. Everything that I've learned was from Dubai and mainly obviously Emaar.
You must be one of the most experienced people in the market with that pedigree. I mean, there are people that probably have been in the market back then, but they're no longer in the market.
That's what I tell a lot of people. The key to success is to be able to stay in the industry that you're working in for 100%. The longest period of time.
Example.
100%.
Example.
You're going to get a lot of people that make loud noises, but the experience that comes in, I've seen it all. I've seen the internet bubble. I've seen the global crisis. I've seen the 2014 crisis. I've seen the Gulf. I've seen it all.
People probably in this market right now, maybe a newbie, someone who hasn't been here for a long time, they're probably quite concerned about the market, etc. And I'm sure they're getting people, their clients are calling them and saying, do you know what, I'm going to hang on, I'm going to see what's going on and what's happening. I'm just going to slow down this whole process. What do you say to those people?
Okay, before addressing that, every crisis or every challenge that this market has gone through over the last 10 years, I've done something where, for example, in COVID, when everyone was cutting salaries and laying off people, I continued paying salaries and I did my expansion. So I was in a 4,000 square foot office. During COVID, I got a 20,000 square foot office and people called me crazy. So this is my point of view and this is my position on Dubai. So when things get hard and people are scared, this is when it's the right time to actually make an opportunity to make a bold move. During the other issue with the Gulf, I don't want to talk politics, but at that time, I actually expanded my office again and improved and started picking up people who were scared. And I was like, I brought them in and I was like, listen, guys, everything's going to be okay. And when the leader of the establishment is comfortable and waking up every day and nothing changes and everything's just like every other day, you give him that sense of confidence. And to the clients that are coming into Dubai, the period between 99 or 98, when the first developer was established in Dubai, and then the rules and regulations started coming into place. It was a leasehold, rent to own. Now the freehold market came in and the regulations came in. Till 2008, we didn't have RERA. And then after that, RERA happened. All of this was trial and error. And they learned it from a first-hand experience. So they've built a system that's tailor-made for the city in order to keep it strong, resilient, and sustainable. Okay, so whatever they've done since 99 till, let's say, around 2020 was basically planting the seeds and setting the foundation. And the beauty of this city is that it wasn't just RERA that worked. You had RTA working right alongside RERA. You've got the government working alongside. It was a government policy, and all the main infrastructure,
immigration, visas, banking,
everything,
airlines,
absolutely everything was aligned and moving towards one direction. Their compass was aligned, all going north, and everything they've done in the last 20 years, with all the challenges that they face and all the problems and all the negative media that came out, that's the foundation part. Whatever we're doing now is we're reaping the benefits. And because of those 20 years, we're going to be reaping benefits for a very long time.
Yeah.
And you're not only talking about infrastructure of a city, you're talking about infrastructure of a government, of a whole country. Geopolitically, we're leading the game on every aspect. Economically, tourist, hospitality, medical is going to be one of this city is going to be one of the most visited for medical care. So whatever they education. Look at what other people can relate to, tourists or people that come here for a very short period of time. You can go anywhere in the world. The level of service in restaurants is on another level. So all of these things have been improving, and they've been working on it for a very long time. They have a clear vision. They know exactly what they want to do. What's happening right now, and you start seeing the cities around Dubai benefiting from it, because the price per square foot is going up here, and it's not very affordable for a lot of people. And this is only going to be a city for the elite. So you're going to start seeing it overflow onto other cities. Now you look at Sharjah. We launched a project in Sharjah. We did absolutely great. We're increasing the price per square foot there. Look at Ras Al Khaimah. Look at Ajman. All these areas are going to start growing. What's going to happen is the main catalyst for any economy is the people that live here, the population. And look at how much we've increased and where they expect Dubai to be in 10 years. You're talking about a double of population. So you were about 3.5, I lost track.
3.9. We're 3.9 now.
So we're almost
looking at
4.
7.8 by 2040. 15 years.
There you go.
Double, almost double.
If not more.
Yeah, possibly.
They're probably being conservative with these numbers.
I mean, even if they're overzealous about it, we're not going to be much more than 10% wrong.
And one thing that a lot of people don't take into consideration is, if you look at the market since 1999 till now, how many off-plan or off-freehold properties or units you think there are? And when I say a unit, it's a studio, it's a plot, it's a villa. All these. You
tell me.
Just throw a number.
I'm going to say that there are, let me see, I hope you're going to cut this out if I do this wrong. A population of 4 million, there are probably around 800,000.
Spot on. 800, 900,000.
There you go.
That's not a lot.
No.
Okay, let's take the 800,000 or 900. Let's say it's 1 million. There's properties that were built from the 2000s up to 2009. That's the old design. They look old. The buildings get older. People want the new stuff. So you take all of that, take it off the inventory. So what's actually coming into the market is not. It's about 300,000. You know what 300,000 is? I just flew back in from India. Do you know what 300,000 is?
There's a drop in the ocean when you talk about
it's
India.
Nothing. And when you have every brick or every foundation laid out right, all we're doing is people are coming in and they just want to be part of this. They want to be part of this beautiful city where everyone's equal, where everyone's respected, where everyone's safe. Where everyone can raise their kids in a standard that suits all nationalities, all backgrounds, be happy, enjoy the different lifestyles or ways of life that you can do. This is what leaders dreamt of in ages and centuries before. This is utopia. Look at us, different nationalities. My office, I've got 65 nationalities in my office.
You started
with D&B Properties.
D&B in 2015, around.
End of 2015.
Fine. So, what was the idea behind D&B?
When I started D&B, I always approach things where I look at what are the low-hanging fruits. Where can I just start? Because I literally started D&B with 25,000 dirhams. I had nothing on me. When we sold at Emaar, we used to make 0.25% of a million. Okay. So that's 250 dirhams for every million we sold.
Right.
So it's not a lot of money.
No.
I used to do big numbers and I'll go home with a little bit of money. And I used to look at the agents and they were making a pile of money. They were charging the buyers 2%, the developers were giving them 2%. I'm sitting here, it's like, I can do their job, but you know what? I'm going to hang on longer. I want to learn more about the business. And I stayed for as long as I possibly can, then they just kicked me out. And when I did that, I was like, okay. I looked at the real estate brokerage market and there was a very few brokers that were doing it right. But no one was focused on off-plan. Majority were the big names that are still here, like you guys, and they were all established and they were doing the secondary market and they were focusing. They brought in the same kind of concept or principle of business from the UK, and the UK is probably the best service provider in terms of lettings and listings. They understood listings. We never knew what listings were. You need to keep in mind, I was born and raised here. We never dealt with listings. In order to get an apartment, you talk to the watchman, and you give him a 10 dirham so that he can show you an apartment. And if he likes you, he'll let you in. That's how we did business back then. So we didn't really know how to do that kind of business. We learned it now. So my concept was, you know what? I'm going to focus on what I do best. So D&B was basically a platform where I hired the team that I needed to become the best version of myself as a broker. I was asked a question before starting D&B. It's like, okay, you work for Emaar. Once you take that name away from you, who are you? I was like, okay, valid point. I'm leveraging on the brand. But now I challenge myself to create value in me so that I can add value to the Emaar brand. So D&B basically was hire a secretary, hire a marketing guy, hire a finance guy. I don't want to do any of the legwork. I don't want to do any of the paperwork. I don't want to do any of the marketing. All I want is a lead to come to me, and I'll take it to the sales center, and I'll close them there and come back, and they'll invoice. I didn't even look at my bank accounts. I didn't do anything. All I did was create a system around me that made me an effective broker. And as soon as I did that and achieved that, and I did it in no time, it took me 3 months to get the right people, put the right energy into the office. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to start plugging people in. And then I started bringing people in, and the system started scaling. And every stage we got to, I needed to do some improvements in the system to scale it even larger and larger and larger. And I'm still doing that, because the bigger you are, you need to go back and reassess the systems, reassess the structures. So the ultimate goal was to bring or make me the best version of myself in sales, in real estate in Dubai. And that's the simple approach that I followed. Faced a lot of challenges, of course. I'm just making it sound easy now, but it was a very tough ride. We faced a lot of challenges. 2015, we got 5th, and it was the typical names that were there. 2016, we were 3rd, and I would confidently say that the company that revolutionized the relationship between brokers and developers was D&B. I'll tell you why. Because in 2017, I think Emaar at that year had a turnover of about 13 billion. We did 1 billion.
Wow.
A little bit more than 1 billion. So you're talking almost 10% of Emaar's revenue came from a company that had 7 employees in it. When that happened, we did that by improving the level of service. It got to a point where people wanted to talk to us more than they wanted to talk to Emaar. Not because they were bad, because they were busy. Clients need attention. And I took that time to give them the attention. And within the first year, I put a counter. And I remember clearly, I put a digital counter on the wall. And I was like, guys, we're going to hit 1 billion this year. I'm going to do half and you do half. Because I used to sell 1.3, 1.4 billion when I worked for Emaar. And to go back to my friend's point, he's like, when Emaar goes away, okay, fine. Emaar went away. I'm not doing 1.3 billion. I'm doing $500 million. So I'm happy with that. But they used to give us 2% commission back then. And then
Yes,
it
they
started
did.
changing. It wasn't 4%, it wasn't 3%. These are
It was even 1.5 at some point, if I remember rightly.
on the ready properties, on the big ticket prices, they'd negotiate the commissions. So I was like, you know what, guys, we're gonna do 1 billion. I'm gonna do $500 million, and you guys do $500 million. I think there were like 8 or 9 of them. They're like, okay. I ended up doing about 650, and they did the remaining, and we crossed the billion. And I remember Amit Jain coming up to me, he was like, Husni, wow, amazing work. You know, you deserve this, great stuff. That year,
You were just doing Emaar. You were just doing Emaar.
I was just focused on Emaar. Low-hanging fruits. That's my strength. That's my forte. Why should I jump onto anything else? And back then, there were a lot of developers, but they weren't the ones you wanted to associate yourself with. So my goal was to leverage on Emaar's brand and improve my brand equity. 2017, they invited us to the Dubai Hill Sales Center. And they're like, you guys need to sit on the first row. And they're like, we're giving out awards. They started announcing the top 20 brokers for Emaar. And they started with number 20. And I think the 20th brokerage got 500,000 dirhams as a bonus. I was like, what? I know we did well. If we're third, I started calculating the numbers. And they went down the list, and then they got to number 3, 2, and 1. And they named the third company, and they named the second company. I was like, no way, we're number 1. And then they named us, and we were the number 1 broker. And you know how much they gave us? $1 million.
Wow.
And when that happened, it made such a buzz in the market. Everyone started wanting to focus back with Emaar. And because Emaar understood, and that's what I love about this city, is they take a step back and they assess the situation. Look, it's very simple. The developer makes majority of the money. Why? They're the ones who make the initial investment on the plots, and they're the ones who are at the end of the cycle, and they make the most money. But there's an ecosystem that connects from the point you buy the plot till the point you hand over the project. There's the consultants, there's the contractors, there's the sub-consultants, subcontractors, the service providers, the marketing companies, the branding companies. All of these are part of that ecosystem. And if one of those is not being paid well, it's a weak system. And they understood that, and they started funding and giving us more money. And a lot of agents would take the money and spend it on silly stuff. I took every penny and reinvested into improving the platform that I've had. And that's what you want from an open market. You know, we used to go to the land department, guys, there's no barrier to entry, you know, brokers coming into the market every other day. In the beginning, it used to bother me. Now I love it, because it's such an open market that it puts you on your toes constantly, and you constantly need to improve yourself. So if there's 100 brokers with boutique brokers, how do I separate myself from that crowd?
So on that point, so you've got a guy, I don't know, he's come from England or Spain or Italy or whatever. He's arrived in the country and he wants to be a real estate broker. What do you tell him? With all your wisdom and experience.
If you're coming into the market with a mindset of, you know what, I'm going to be here for 5 years, make a crap load of money and head back home, don't bother. The city will eat you alive and spit you out. You won't know what hit you. Because there's a lot of factors in living in Dubai. And it's not just working. There's the social life. There's it's a very hectic life. So if you're coming in as a real estate expert or wanting to get into the real estate market with a short-term vision and a plan to not commit to this city, don't bother. So, but the main thing is you have to love this city with everything you've got. You have to love it in the summer when it's boiling hot outside, and as soon as you walk out your car, your shirt's drenched. You have to love the city when there's geopolitical instability. You have to love the city when the developers are being difficult with you. No matter what happens, if you love this city and this country, everything becomes a little bit easier. It is not a very easy journey. And the two other main things, I'll just keep them down to 3 because there's a lot. A healthy routine, mind, body, soul, and the ability to manage your income properly. Because when you're a real estate broker, you're your own business. And if you make 100,000 dirhams and you spend 80 on an apartment and, you know, go out and buy yourself a nice watch, save that. You'll get to that level. Don't worry about positioning yourself and spending and you know, blowing your money. Take your time. Some people have 6 good months in the year and 6 bad months in a year. You need to have that kind of financial stability in during the tough times. And if you don't have that, clients will know. Your mood will change. If you can't pay your bills at the end of the month, you're not going to be able to be efficient on the phone. So you need to be relaxed. Put yourself through these 3, and this is the best industry in the world.
You just summed it up perfectly as far as I'm concerned. If you'd asked me the same question, I would have said, not quite as eloquently as you, but I would have said exactly the same thing. One of the things that really upsets me when I speak to when I have these new people come and join me, or maybe they've been there a year or so, and you say, "Oh, have you been to Ravi's? Where's that?" What? You know what I mean? You know, I'm giving you an example, an extreme example, but come on, guys. Where's the American hospital? What are you talking about? You don't know where the American hospital is. You know, it's like.
That's how you fall in love with the city.
Exactly.
You need to integrate yourself
Exactly.
into its history, its
Exactly.
culture, its people. Go out, buy a kondora, walk in the gold souk, see how it understand. So look, people.
How much is an Abra? I don't know. I don't know how much an Abra is. It looks expensive. Oh, come on. You know.
Loving this city and accepting it for exactly what it is without complaining is the most important factor for success in any industry in Dubai.
I agree.
And like you said, to love the city, you need to understand it. You need to have a local friend, learn their culture, eat their food, see where they came from and where they are, integrate or get that sense of how proud they are as a country for achieving what they did in a matter of no time. You know, cities like Dubai, I don't want to compare other cities. It would have taken them 2 centuries to reach to where they are. We've done it in 40 years or 50 years.
Yes.
50 years is how old the UAE is. Dubai started in technically 2000.
It's younger than me.
25 years.
Younger than me.
25
Can you
years.
believe it?
25 years. Not much younger.
Well, no. Anyway, brilliant. This is absolutely brilliant. Now, what I want to talk to you about, evolutions. Evolutions, I find, is a very interesting concept. This is something, it's a business which has come into this market over the last few years and has not just Evolutions, but there are other companies like Evolutions. And you can explain to the listeners, what is Evolutions. But I find it whole very interesting. Why do we need Evolutions or companies like Evolutions in this market? Because it was working okay before. And what is so unique about your company? I can tell you what it is, but I want you to tell people, what do you think it's unique about Evolutions as against these other companies who are doing something very similar?
So the concept of evolution is as follows. We go back to the point of how you need to align yourself with the city. What's the main goal of this city, or one of the most important pillars of this government? To attract foreign investors. Okay? And they've succeeded on every level. You've got the people that come here and work here. You've got the people that come here and invest here. You've got people here that are buying studios, 1 bedrooms, 2 bedrooms. You've got the investors that are buying 1 floor, 2 floor. You've got the investors that are buying full buildings. It's attracted some developers, but the market has been so saturated with developers. Not saturated in a sense that it's bad, but it's become so cutthroat here for them to compete with each other. For you to be a successful developer, it would take you 3 to 4 or 5 years to establish a brand where you can actually go to the market and start, positioning yourself as one of the Dubai brokers. So there was a segment of the market of investors with a lot of cash who could be developers back in their hometown, and they want to be part of the Dubai success, but they can't, because as soon as they come in, they look at it, okay, I'm going to buy a plot in Business Bay. It's one project. I don't want to go too big. I'll buy a plot. I'll do a development for $1 billion dirhams. You do the feasibility study, the cost of construction, the cost of sale, the soft cost, all of that. And then in order for you to be able to exit the investment properly, you need the tools. which is the sales center, the operation, the structure, and all of that. And then when you put the cost of creating that structure onto your feasibility, your project's no longer feasible. So the only way you can come into the market is if you're a mega developer and you're really shifting a lot of money here, and you're buying hundreds, millions of square foot of land, and it's a pipeline. So it then makes sense for you to start establishing and investing into your infrastructure. So my goal was, you know what? I don't want you to invest in it. I'll invest in it. Evolution cost me a lot of money. We've got every department. We operate like any other developer operates. Every single department. And you know what? I'll say it with full confidence and full pride. We even perform and operate better than other developers. Many other better developers in terms of the technology, because everything we did in Evolution was reverse engineered as a broker to understand how I can add value to three main pillars in my business: the developer, the broker, and the end user. And I can get into that. So that segment of the market, no one catered to them. So they'd come to Dubai. Imagine, I've got 100 million dirhams or $100 million. I'm a rich guy. I want to build in Dubai. $100 million won't get you anything. So what do you end up doing? You know what? Let me go visit other developers. He ends up buying bulk from certain developers, walks away, builds his portfolio on their developments, and he leverages on the little premium that he'll make on top of that. So it's like, no, Mr. Developer, come here. I'll buy you the plot. I'll do the feasibility study for you. I'll manage the whole thing for you from A to Z in terms of project management, onboarding consultants, onboarding contractors. I'll make your job easier, and I will put your development name out in the front. So I became a developer incubator. So these guys would come to me. They would look at my infrastructure and see that, you know what, I'm fully capable. And we've offloaded close to 7.2 billion in real estate value.
In how long?
Very short period of time.
Yeah.
And we've managed to give these developers the confidence to invest more. And the developer incubator part is a very interesting part. And that's the one that gave me the ability to build an inventory. And the way it works is I'm in charge of that inventory, in a sense of I'm the one briefing the developer on what unit mix we need. How do we make this project better than the ones around it? So when we take on a plot, for example, we buy a plot in Jumeirah Gardens, we study every single project. And when I say we study every single project, we study every single project details, the unit mix, the sizes, the amenities, the brochure, the floor plans, the color of the ID, who their consultant is. And I sit there with the team, and we have the team, and we're the salespeople. So we're not developers, we're not engineers, we're the salespeople. We're like, listen, we need 1, 2, 3, and 4. And we put that into a nice little presentation that we present to the consultant. And the consultant has to do what we want. Because what Evolution does is it builds the exit strategy for the investor, and I have every single tool to execute it. And you've seen it. And when I say tools, it's the operations, it's the sales. You know, when we did the sales center, I took a showroom in Sheikh Zayed Road. I was like, you know, I'm going to have my billboard there. And on that road, there were multiple developers. So my brand would get diluted. And these guys have been in the market long enough. So who am I to be next to them? You know, I'll always have that. So even the experience and the journey within the building we got, you walk into the lobby, it's a regular building. It's not really a fancy building, not like the one we're in now. You walk in and it's a regular building. But as soon as the elevators open up into Evolution, so the client walks in, he's like, oh God, where are they bringing me? You know, this is horrible. As soon as the elevator opens, so all the objections that he had in his mind, I don't know what to deal with. So even the process of sale, I know that 50% of any deal is done on the initial impression when you walk into a sales center. So even the way we designed the customer journey, the broker journey, was designed in a way to add value to the property, to the developer, to the city, to the broker, and to the end user. And one thing that's very important is, majority of the developers we work with are boutique developers. So they really just want to be part of the ecosystem. So they're not keen on just building on crazy premiums with no value. Sorry, you're no one here. So this is your first development here. So we create a product with value, we don't like using the word luxury in Evolution. We focus on attention to details. Every property that's in our showroom is value for money, because it's not priced as the existing developers that are in the market, but it has better quality. So any investor coming to us is getting value for money. Brokers, you've seen my showroom. So because of the developer incubator, we're managing now north of 35 projects in Dubai. I'm talking tens of billion. Well, to be exact, we're about 25 billion worth of inventory that I have in my pipeline. This gave me the ability to build a showroom. The showroom, I personally like to call it the real estate mall, because it's the only showroom in Dubai where you can bring in a new team of brokers from anywhere in the world, and within 4 hours, they'll know and learn every area in Dubai. So as of now, we've had projects in Jeddah. In my showroom right now, we've got projects in Jeddah. They'll know the price per square foot in Jeddah, the rental yields in Jeddah. We've got District 11. We've got Meydan. We've got the JLT. We've got Dubai Marina. We've got Business Bay, Dubai Hills. And you look JVC. So we've created a platform where it is an absolutely magical content creating platform. So agents, social media is big now. They come in, I walk in, and there's like these people just coming in and filming and creating content and sending it out. And they know for a fact that when their client comes in, he's going to be pleasantly comfortable walking into a good showroom with all these all different spectrum projects. And we've created a platform where we can cater to different layers of brokers. So you've got the new guys, the fresh off the boat brokers. They'll end up learning. It becomes an academic platform for them. Then you've got the senior brokers, where you can come in and say, you know what, this will give you a high appreciation. This will give you a high rental yield. And you'll be able to compare products so that you can give your client so much to look at, so that he can actually do a calculated decision based on what his requirements are. So on my platform, I've got projects that will probably give you the highest appreciation in town, and some products that will give you okay appreciation, but they'll give you good yields. Ones with some projects are extremely liquid. Some projects you might have to drop the price a bit. So you've got that nice little spectrum of products across the whole platform, which is educational, really pleasant to see. And we've been able to execute, I'm losing count, to be honest, over 11 projects now, and there's more coming on the pipeline. I've got Jumeirah Gardens coming up. I've got more we launched a project last week. I was in India. We launched it in the Wednesday brunch. It was sold out.
Which one was that?
The one in Academic City. 95 units. I thought I'd come back and work on it. It's gone.
Talking about Jumeirah Garden City, what's your take on that? Bearing in mind that you used to live there.
On the main road. That's the back one.
Okay, you're on the main road. What was behind you? Was it sand?
It was a big... Okay, I'll tell you what we used to... The royals used to ride their horses there, train their horses there.
So it was sand, wasn't it?
It was sand all the way to the beach.
All
the way to the beach.
No.
There were the villas.
There was satwa.
No. There was a big plot of sand. Then there was Satwa, which was labor camp. It was all the Then you had the villas in Jumeirah, and then they had the beach.
Yes. No, but there was sand, wasn't there? Because I tell you why it is. Because I was on.
When it rained, it became puddles of mud.
Yeah. So I did a video the other day about Jumeirah Garden City, and someone made the comment, "Yeah, it's a shame that they've had to regenerate it because they locked down a load of buildings." And I'm thinking, I didn't remember any buildings there.
They were villas, buildings. Yeah, it was Satwa. Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
It was part of Satwa.
But you know how they did that? They knocked it down. They were villas. If I remember correctly, they were villas, and the government compensated them with other areas. So if you had a 10,000 square foot plot in Satwa, because it was called Satwa, they've given him a plot in Khawanij, 20,000 square feet, or in Nad al-Shiba, or in different areas. They get to choose. So Jumeirah Gardens is a very interesting area. I really would have liked for it to be unified in terms of quality, which is good and bad. It's got its advantages and disadvantages. So if you do a product that stands out, you'll be able to get more value for it. And the best example is H&H.
Eden House.
Oh my God, outstanding job with the whole concept and
But
how
not
they
for
built
sale,
it.
unfortunately.
Not for sale, but you know how much they're generating in rental yield. The three
imagine.
bedrooms going for, I don't know, last I checked was about 320,
And
350,000 dirhams.
and the rest.
So
I mean, I think one bedroom's there around 150, 160 or something.
They've raised the bar there. Now, Jumeirah Gardens is selling at an average of 1,800 to 2,200.
Yes.
I would not be surprised if 5-6 years down the line we're looking at 3-5.
I've walked around that area, and there's some people in my company who have sold a lot of property there because they really do. They've taken clients down there. I'm just still trying to get my head round the fact that the things I like about it are that the location is excellent. You're very close to downtown, DIFC, etc., but you're in a place that you can walk around for a start. It's a walking area, and it's value. I'm just convincing myself. I'm telling you the great points about it.
Simple formula. The city has multiple arteries.
Yes.
The main artery is Sheikh Zayed Road. The second one is Al Khail Road. Then it's Mohammed bin Zayed Road. Then they keep on growing. And the bigger the population becomes, the more these become busier. But the main artery in Dubai is Sheikh Zayed Road. Anything you take on the water or on Sheikh Zayed Road, don't worry about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't worry about it.
Husni, one of the things I love about you is your enthusiasm, not just for Dubai, but for the business and for sales, and you're just always up there, aren't you, with this boundless enthusiasm. It's not blind enthusiasm. You know exactly what's going on, and it's just brilliant. So let's talk about the future of Dubai. You're middle-aged. Look, I'm old now.
No, you're not.
Yeah. So
I see you in the gym. You got a heart of an 18-year-old.
Oh, stop. Where do you see things going for Dubai and for you as a businessman in the real estate business in Dubai over the next 5, 10, 15 years?
Dubai is always going to be a trendsetter in every industry, no matter what happens. And it's not a matter of which generation is going to do that. It's embedded in every generation. The leadership here they can't be replicated. And it's solidified now that it's not just one generation. It started with Sheikh Rashid. It's continuing with Sheikh Mohammed. God forbid, it's going to continue with Sheikh Hamdan. And the energy and the mindset is always going to be there. I'm not worried about Dubai. The way they're moving, the way they're looking at things, the way they're expanding things. Every country has a 100-year plan. We're not even close to the 100-year plan. And the country is not about Dubai or Abu Dhabi. It's about Abu Dhabi, Dubai, the Northern Emirates, and every city in Dubai. What I see happening is this whole city is going to become a single solid entity where they all feed into one main goal, which is positioning the United Arab Emirates as a leading country in terms of government, in terms of technology, in terms of real estate, in terms of quality of life, in terms of everything. And we're already there. You can see it. It's like a puzzle, and there's just a couple more pieces that you need to put there, but you already see the big picture. I'm not worried about the UAE, and I don't want to talk about Dubai because it's no longer Dubai. It's the UAE, and hopefully maybe moving forward, it'll become the GCC. The UAE's positioned itself they're the ones exporting things to other countries now. Services, business, experience, knowledge, put together the funds that are government funds between all the GCC countries. They own the world. Mm-hmm. Do you know that?
I know that they have
between Qatar, Oman, Bahrain, Saudi, PIF, QIB, IHG, all these funds that the government put in place to invest, they own the world. They own the world.
I think their sovereign wealth funds is that they have so much invested around the world. Is that my understanding is they don't even have to take another drop of oil out of the ground.
So I'm not worried. I'm really not worried. As long as you have the vision continues on the same track that we're on now, the population is only going to keep on increasing. I've traveled around the world. I've seen countries that have 100 million population. I've seen a country that has a 1.5 billion population. We're small. We're like a little village in these countries. But we're running away where we're scalable. Look, a lot of people tell me, why Dubai? Dubai had an advantage over everyone else. You look at Dubai and you look at Sharjah. Sharjah was built before Dubai. And it was built on the mindset of, you know what, we don't need wide roads. So they're struggling now. But look at Dubai. Dubai learned from Europe, from the US, from neighboring cities, from neighboring countries. And think of this, and a lot of people miss this point. Look at Sheikh Zayed Road. You know the distance between one building and the other building is about 150 meters? Okay, now imagine you're in the middle of the desert in an old S-Class, driving on the dunes, and you look at this and you say, I'm going to do this highway and I want it to have 150 meters. Who would have thought of that back then? Why would you need that? 90% of people would probably said, you know what, you're crazy. Why would you need that? That's a waste of land. I can build two more lines of road. Look at where the vision started. Imagine Sheikh Zayed Road was half the size. You think we would have been able to reach to where we are now?
No way.
It would have been a serious obstacle for us. But the vision started from day one. They're like, you know what? No, I want the roads to be, how easy would have it been for them to make the decision of moving the plots closer to each other?
No, that's right. The story about Jebel Ali port, 30
Same.
kilometers away from town.
Same.
Who wants to have a port? Sheikh Rashid.
I'm talking,
he knew what was going on.
That's a different issue. But in terms of real estate, you know, if Sheikh Zayed Road was 3 lanes each, we wouldn't have been able to build the downtown and the marina and all of that. But look at where it all started. So I'm not worried about Dubai or the UAE.
What about your business? Where are you going to be? Do you want to keep it quiet?
No. But, you know, I think I'm very lucky, first of all, to have been part of the development of a city like Dubai from the start. And I'm still young and healthy. And I probably have another, hopefully, couple of decades ahead of me. And if you look at the old generation that managed real estate, majority of them did know nothing about real estate when they started. I don't want to mention names, but if you look at the pioneers in real estate now, if you look at what they did before they started in 2000, retail, catering, government positions, and then they jumped into real estate and they built their experience through trial and error during this period. I've learned from them, and now it's our turn to take the torch and come up with something new and think outside the box and work on the same wavelength that Dubai has always worked on, is always try to improve, always try to innovate, always try to create something that will add value not only to you, but to the community you live in. And for me, I really want to position myself where I will be taking that torch and hopefully creating value for the community that we live in, the people that work with us, the city. I'm a very proud Arab, and I think it's time for us to be represented. We have, and Dubai was the pioneer for it. Where in the world would you have a platform like Dubai that will allow you to grow, improve, enhance, and export?
I want to ask you something, because one of the things that people...
You know, you inspire me.
Oh, God.
I'm not kidding.
Yeah, go on.
I'm not kidding. You know, every day I walk into the gym and I'm like, you know, I've got this thing in me where I want to be the first one to walk into the gym. I want to be the first one to try to do this. It's a kind of culture that we were brought up here and raised with in Dubai. And when I look at you and I say, mashallah, you know, you're still walking in with your suit every day in the morning. You've got your routine. You've got your regiment. You're doing it day in, day out, no matter what happens.
Become my personal trainer.
And your personal trainers.
Yeah.
You keep jumping.
Yeah.
But for me, the inspiration that comes from you is, you know what? I want to be able to hopefully maintain what I'm doing now till I reach, you know, the same seniority that you are in. And the trick in that is I know for a fact that everything I've learned in the last 25 years, if I wasn't healthy or if I couldn't maintain the same level of energy and if I couldn't go to work every day with the same intensity, then it's all useless. Whatever money I have, I'm going to have to live with it. But if you can't have that energy at 60 or at 70 or at 80, then you're completely useless. So what you're doing is absolutely outstanding. And you should put it out there more. Not just your videos. You should put more of how you are religiously disciplined with your health, with your work, with how you do things. Because this is the real inspiration that people need to see.
You're very kind. I don't know about that. Yes. Let's go back to the very basics. So we all come across it. Some very unprofessional people in the real estate business here in Dubai. I think it's probably the same for any business. How do we get rid of these people who are coming into this market because they see lots of money being made, etc.? What do we do with these people?
Okay, funny enough, one of the main reasons Dubai has been extremely successful is because it went through cycles. So let's imagine this. It's not your job or my job. Your job and my job is to maintain a certain level in our establishments where we're creating quality agents. And the bad ones will filter themselves out. You know that for a fact. So what I advise new people to come in is, if they want to take this job seriously, they need to associate themselves with companies that understand what brand is. Because anyone that they put under their brand represents them, and that's a very important thing for me in D&B. If someone is not straightforward, I don't want them in D&B because they have a direct impact on my brand. So they always need to associate themselves with a proper brand that understands structure, that's fair, good reputation, and take it from there. And like I said, it's a long-term thing, so they need to be patient with that. But when you join a company that doesn't spend on their branding and they don't understand what the brand equity is, percentages are high that what you're going to learn from there is not ethical, and it's not going to be sufficient for you to take it for long, stay in the market for a very long time. So for the new agents that come in, it's highly advisable that you look at the track record of the company you want to join. And there's plenty of them. And that's the beauty of Dubai. I can name at least 10 agencies right now that if I go back in time, I would not want to work with any except for those companies. Because of their track record, their history, how they're training their people, how they're investing in their brand. Associate themselves with that. But to go back to the first point that I was saying, don't worry about filtration. The reason Dubai is where it is right now in the quality of service, this is one of the top countries in terms of quality of service on every vertical, every industry in the market. So look at the history. A big boom happens in 2002. You have people from all over the world rushing, cowboys, just to want to make a quick buck. And then the crisis hits. What happens? The ones who fell in love with the city, and the ones who have ethics, and the ones who have principles, and the ones who have responsibilities and put their feet in the ground and established families here, decide, you know what, I'm not going to run away and leave my car in the airport. I'm going to stay and I'm going to improve myself. So that was first layer of filtration. The 2002 bubble. Then you had the 2008. And it filtered all the hustlers that wanted to make a quick buck and leave. And then you had another crisis in 2012. And then 2014. So the city is built in a way where it's so attractive. It brings in a lot of people. And it's been filtering and funneling out. And every generation that stays is the one that is working hard to improve and evolve and become better versions of themselves individually and as a company. Because the country here is so competitive that you can't just rely on prehistoric ways of doing business. You constantly need to adapt and be flexible and improve and change and do this and do that. So the filtration's happening as we speak.
We can say the same thing for developers as well.
100%.
Construction
How many
companies
developers fell through the cracks and disappeared and had a negative impact on the... You know what? This city is the most resilient city in the world. They said... I don't want to even start talking about what the English magazines said about this city over the years. You know what? We don't care. we're moving forward. Whether you like it, whether you don't, you want to hate, you want to be jealous, you want to be supportive, we're moving forward. The ship has sailed. We're not going to stop for no one. And that's the mindset that the city has. And what happens is, now we have another wave of new people that came in. How many brokerages do you think will be the same brokerages that had 3, 4, 5 years of crazy, we're doing this, we're doing that, we're number one, we're number two? They're all going to start filtering out. And it could be us as well. Huh? If you do not position yourself or have the ability to adapt, it can happen to the best of us.
Absolutely.
So this is why I need to maintain that level of energy. Because if I wake up one day and I'm like, I don't feel like going today. You can't do that in Dubai. You can't do that in Dubai. And Dubai is not for anyone. Dubai is for a certain level of people that can maintain that level of energy and be resilient. The harder things are, the more you can take on challenges, the longer you will stay, the more successful that you will be.
So that brings me on to the next point, which is about technology and how technology has changed our business over the last 20 odd years. You'll remember that, you talk about the
Gulf News.
Gulf News, exactly. How thick was it? It was like that thick, wasn't it?
It was Properties 1, Properties 2, Properties 3, Commercial 1,
section,
Commercial 2, Commercial 3.
Exactly.
And then you had the little one for the cars.
Yeah, that's right. And what did we have?
Deals
and
on
we had a
Wheels,
color.
was it
There
Deals
was
on
a
Wheels?
color supplement, I think, on a Friday.
Yeah.
And then obviously we didn't have Google Maps or anything. It was what's the one? Waze. It was. I remember getting. What is that?
There were 3 areas. There was nothing.
True.
It was the first time I went to the marina, they had a porto cabin, and it was because we used to camp in the marina. So we drive on Sheikh Zayed Road, and they had little showers on the beach before Burj Al Arab was even built. The whole beach was a public beach, and they had little showers where you can park your car. You have to drive on like a 20-minute ride on dunes to get there, and we'd camp there as kids. And
I camped. I
used to go crab
I haven't
hunting
been as
there.
long as you've been here, but I remember camping what is now in front of the Jumeirah address. The address Jumeirah Beach Hotel.
Oh, yeah, no, that was okay. Not too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So further down.
Yeah.
We used to also, after they started building the marina, we used to camp further down. But we used to go crab hunting there. They had these big crabs, and we had little forks with
Big crabs.
Big crabs.
Come on.
Big, massive crabs.
Wow.
And we'd go out at night, and you flash a flashlight on the water, and they'd come out, and then you just hack them.
Amazing. So, technology.
Technology is very important.
Yes.
Technology is extremely important. I'm a very big advocate for technology. Like you said, we've seen the whole journey from newspapers to the advancements of newspapers, the magazines, the listings, the portals, blah, blah, all of that stuff. We've seen it. It's very important, and that's the part of resilience. Look, the best guide is to look at what the government is doing. The government took the initiative to go paperless in 2012?
I think so. I think it was around then.
2012. His Highness came out and was like, listen, we're building a paperless government. Technology, digital. And if your government is a pioneer in constantly looking at new ways to improve businesses, and you're not at that standard, you're not at their level. So again, the filter out process. So it's a matter of life or death for companies here. Technology is massive. As of now, I've got an application that'll be coming out soon where I send a voice note to a number, and it's only the senior management in my team that can have that. I'm like, how much have we sold this month? And it will go into my system, which is a closed system, pull out all the information and give it to me without even me having to ask for a PA or anything.
That happens now?
It's almost ready. I'll take you on a quick tour. We've got some serious technology backing the business up. Serious technology. I mean, majority of my investment was on the physical showroom, but I wouldn't be lying if I told you I've spent almost as much on the physical as well as the digital. Almost the same, if not more, on the digital.
One of the things you asked me not to ask you at the beginning is, who is Husni? I'm not going to ask you that, but what I am going to ask you is probably just as unfair, is 20 years, 30 years, 40 years down the line, how do you want to be remembered? What's your legacy?
I don't want to be remembered.
Why not?
I don't want to be remembered. If I want to do anything, I want to leave my kids with a legacy. Because if I leave them with whatever I leave them with, my son can probably burn it in a year. It's not about that. I just want them to look back and say, you know what, my dad did it with nothing. I can do it. Countries, people, families are built on a sense of confidence that is a combination of many things. It could be your religion, and it comes down to family, a name, a legacy, a small legacy that could be the seed for future generations. If I would want to be remembered, most importantly by my family, especially my kids, in a good way.
Amazing. What advice would you give to the next generation of real estate entrepreneurs?
Separate yourself from the crowd. Separate yourself from, you look at every market, and at any point of time, if you wanted to start a business, you'd be like, oh, but there's like 100 other agents, or 1,000 or 10,000 other agencies in the market. Think of how you can improve on little things. It could be simple principles like, you know what, guys, we are an ethical company. We don't do bad deal or anything. Just separate yourself from the crowd. Find a way to position yourself and completely take yourself away from the crowd. A lot of people will be like, yeah, but that's easier said than done. Yeah, of course it's easier said than because it'll take you 10 years to build the experience and the knowledge and go through ups and downs until you get to a point where you look back at the market and you look at everyone and be like, you know what, everyone's doing things this way. I need to do things this way. So it doesn't happen overnight. This advice is not for someone that's just in the market. My advice for the new entrepreneurs, associate yourselves with companies that know what they're doing, with brands that respect themselves, brands that focus on their identity, brands that focus on their brand, brands that focus on ethics, principles, and have a set of principles. Work with them for as long as you possibly can. Take the best from each and every one of them and keep moving. Some companies are good in a certain segment. Other companies are good in other segments. Move around. Do 2 years here, 2 years there, 2 years here. Have a plan when you're new when you're young. Do the work. Do the work for as long as you possibly can. And then when you reach a point and you're sitting down and you're stressed out and you're thinking, God, I'm like everyone else. How can I do things different? Your experience is going to give you the points you need in order for you to separate yourself from the crowd. A lot of people will come and do something you cannot do it differently like that from day one, unless you're a genius or unless you have a God-given gift. 99% of the people are just some.
Do you know how many people come to my team? Not many, but there's a few. They come and they say, we tell them, this is the process. This is what you need to do to make money, so that at the point when you're independent and you're doing okay, then you can start thinking about this. How many of them think, you know what, I'd like to do this differently? Right from the beginning, without any experience of the market, without any experience.
But that's a problem with the new generation.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
They're looking at all this social media. It's so toxic. It's horrible. You got people going online claiming that they're making millions. 90% of them are full of crap. They're just leading people so that they can buy their courses. And you've got all these people claiming that, you know what, the world it's 8 billion people. If 5% of them are lucky, these are the 5% that are lucky. Do not compare yourself to them. There's no easy way out. There's no quick wins in life. You have to go through the work.
Husni, I want to thank you so much for coming in and talking to me today. It's been a real pleasure getting to know you a little bit better, and I think that you and I will know each other for a very long time.
Thank you for inviting me, bro.
No, not
all
at all.
The best.
Thank
That's
you.
great.
A huge thank you to Husni for joining me and sharing his journey, insights, and vision. And thank you for tuning into the episode of the Steven Leckie Podcast. If you found it valuable, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. And if you know someone who'd benefit from this, share it with them too. I'm Steven Leckie. See you next time.